Hello everyone. I'm coming to you from my house today. I'm working from home this morning before I head to a community meeting because my husband is out of town, and so I am single parenting this dog. So I just stayed home this morning so that he wouldn't have to be alone for too long, because he was alone for a lot of hours yesterday. And I have attached pictures to this email. I, along with some other staff, had the opportunity to go to the annual breakfast for the Fort Worth Convention and Visitors Bureau, which has now been renamed Visit Fort Worth. I talked with the staff at the table a little bit about why I think it's important that the library support tourism, and I wanted to share with you why I think it's important. There's three reasons, I think. Let's see if I actually land on three, because I think that the gut instinct is to say libraries have nothing to do with tourism because we serve residents. I would offer that there are a few reasons why we need to be supportive of tourism. One is it's important to the city, and whatever's important to the city needs to be important to us, because the more supportive we are of the goals of the city, the more we will be supported back by the city. Because we get our budget from the city, if economic development is important to the city, as it is, I need to demonstrate that the library supports economic development. If tourism is important to the city, I need to demonstrate that we're supportive of that, so that when funding time comes around, we can show that our goals align with the city's goals, and therefore we need to be fully supported by the city. So that's one reason. Another reason I would offer is that several of our branches, and most importantly the Central Library, could have a more direct connection with some of the tourism that is happening in the city, such as Sundance Square. Right now we don't really pull people from Sundance Square over to the Central Library, but I am committed to doing a better job of that in the next few years. I have met with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to talk to them about our meeting rooms at Central being available to organizations that are booking the convention center for conferences and might need a little extra space. I've also talked to them about some of our libraries being on bus tours that conventions send for people who visit Fort Worth. The next reason is that tourism can often lead to people thinking about living in a city in the future. Think about all the times you visited somewhere else and you thought, I could live here, or I could never live here. If they come to Fort Worth, and they've never thought about Fort Worth before, but they come here for work, they come here for a conference or a meeting or whatever, and they spend time in the city, and they spend time in the stockyards and in Sundance Square, and maybe even at a program at the library, they start to imagine that they could live here, and they could live here with their families. And then maybe they move here in the future and they think, I went to that library, that was such a great place, I want to bring my kids here, or I want to make sure this is a part of my life. So people visiting here could be future patrons. And lastly, you all know that we have family members who visit people who live here and bring people to the library. So for example, a grandparent visiting his or her grandchild might bring that kid to seminary for a story time. And then they start thinking, this was so great, I wish I could see my grandchild more often, bring them to the library. I could think about living in Fort Worth. So not every single tourist who comes to town is going to move here, but tourism has been proven to be a big factor in future growth of a city. And I think that we play a key role in that. So that's why we got a table at this breakfast, and that's why we asked staff from around the system to join us, because I think it's really important that staff hear about what's happening at the city, and you hear about the vision for the city from someone other than me. So if you're asked to participate in something like this in the future, I hope that you will say yes and understand that I'm asking you to be invited because I want staff to do these kind of fun things, and so I'm not the only one who gets to do them. That's all for this week. Take a look at the picture of the staff who joined me at the table yesterday, and I hope to see all of you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your week.